Welcome to my shop. If you're here for the big sword, that guy bought the last one. I've got other stuff though. What you coming in for? A moon scroll? You look like you got that moon scroll vibe. No? I got a 1976 black dragon out back if you're interested. Let's see here. Lucky drops? Cat hat? Oh, we got a new centaur hot today. Best hots in town right here. Rock candy? Ghost powder? Secret key? Or just the usual? Who doesn't love a good game shop? But not all shops are built the same. A shop can be anything from the most basic exchanging of money for stuff to a more complicated system of bartering and negotiating, all the way up to a set of mechanics so detailed and nuanced that it becomes the game. Since so many games are going to have shops in them, it makes sense to make them as fun as possible, right? I think so. Let's talk shop. If you've ever thought you might want to become a programmer, but you weren't sure if you were cut out for it, I've got the perfect fix for you. Try our sponsor, Boot.dev. They've taken a curriculum of Python and programming classes and gamified the hell out of the whole thing. Boot.dev takes you step by step through learning how to become a back-end developer, with bite-sized, self-guided lessons. The folks at Boot.dev believe the smartest way to learn to code is to make sure you're never bored, and I think they've done a great job. As long as you stick to it, these lessons will have you coding like a pro. It's a perfect tool for taking that first step towards becoming a professional programmer, way more effective than trying to wing it yourself, and way cheaper than university classes. You also get access to Boot.dev's Discord community, full of people learning alongside you. Get the exact help you need when you get stuck, and help others like you get unstuck. All of their content is also available for free in guest mode, so if you're curious, pop over there and sign up just to see what they're all about. Click the link in the description box and use my code DESIGNDOC to get 25% off your first payment for Boot.dev. That's 25% off your first month or year, depending on the subscription you choose. Try it out. Thanks to Boot.dev. So how do you make a shop more fun? Well, your options depend on what you want your shop to do. Game shops can handle a lot of different types of things. How complicated do you want to get? You can go way past just buying and selling stuff. Let's break it up into a few levels, getting more complicated as we go up this big tall department store of a metaphor, floor by floor. At the start though, it is just about buying and selling stuff. Level 1. Basic shops. If you want a no-nonsense vanilla game shop, you've got about 1,000 RPGs to choose from. Super Mario RPG might be the most vanilla of them all. These shops are reliable sources of consumable items and basic level appropriate gear. Not the best stuff, not the flashiest, not the weirdest, just the most sensible. One common role of a shop is to provide a way for a player to stick to a progression curve in games where you get more powerful over time, like in most RPGs. As challenges get tougher, a shop can provide a baseline of tools that ensure a player has a clear path to make further progress in the game. Spend some coin to get a leg up on enemies if you need it. Sell your old stuff since there's not much of a point to keep it on you, and get more money to buy more stuff. Grind for coins if you still don't have enough. If you're stuck, the shop can give you the tools to get unstuck. Super Mario RPG's equipment scales pretty linearly, so there aren't even many interesting tactical choices you have to make. Most of the gear you buy in one of these shops is a straight upgrade. The close by dungeons might have some secret treasure chests with some better gear, but if you need a fallback option, these shops are right here to give you just enough to keep you moving forward in the game. So if that's the blandest shop you can find, let's start ratcheting up the spice. What about selling stuff in a shop? Game shops aren't forced to adhere to any real-life limit on what or how much a shop could buy or sell. In some cases, that can be disastrous for game balance. Elder Scrolls shops have limited funds. You can't just offload your house full of cheese wheels onto one guy and expect him to give you more than the fantasy equivalent of $50. In Elder Scrolls, since most everything is stealable, a shop with unlimited buying power could immediately wreck the game's economy, letting you sell as many forks, plates, and papers as you could hoover up, and turning all that garbage into the most expensive thing the game had. Elder Scrolls merchant money limits put at least a little bit of a cap on how many shenanigans you can pull. Not that you can't pull any shenanigans with the shopkeepers, but the game at least makes it a little tougher to do. Maybe you don't quite have the funds to get what you really want to buy. Some games give you another option. A Link Between Worlds gives you access to almost everything in the game from the outset through Ravio's special item shop. Everything from the hookshot, bows, bombs, and staves, all of that is here right away. You don't even need to pay much. That is, if you're just renting it. For not much money, you get to rent all this stuff. The only catch is that if you get a game over, you have to return everything you've rented. That can get very pricey in a hurry if you rented out the entire stock of Ravio's shop at once. For a much higher price, you can just permanently buy everything instead, which not only lets you keep the items on death, but gives you the ability to upgrade the items later to sexier, more powerful items. Link Between Worlds' gameplay loop and structure are carefully designed with this rental system in mind. The game lets you tackle dungeons in any order you want. The high price and major benefits of ownership work together to create a long-term goal to work towards and makes rupees in the overworld that much more important to collect. It's an experiment in semi-open design that opened up some new possibilities, even if the dungeons themselves wound up being a little too focused on a single dungeon item instead of all the possible options a player could possess. Basic shops don't need to stick to traditional items and consumables. You could put lots of other kinds of things up for sale. A shop can take over what might otherwise be shoved into a skill tree, like in the new Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. It uses shops to buy the upgrades at the center of the game's character progression. It's a Metroidvania, so all of your core abilities will be found as you progress in the main story, but there are lots more helpful extra perks you can find and earn as well. There aren't any consumables, and selling items isn't an option, but these shops give you access to non-critical power-enhancing items, equipable amulets that give special perks, weapon damage upgrades, increased arrow capacity, additional potions and better healing efficiency. There's a lot to choose from and none of the upgrades are very cheap, so choose wisely. All of these sorts of upgrades would, in a lot of other games, be shoved into a more abstract setup, like a skill tree in a menu, but there's nothing preventing these things from being items in something more skeuomorphic, like a physical shop to visit. Skill tree shops can have a downside when they're filled with both short-term consumables and long-term upgrades. These run the risk of clashing with each other. Devil May Cry has a skill tree style shop where the bulk of your moveset needs to be bought. The game's moves vary in price, with more broadly useful moves like the gap-closing Stinger being cheap, and more powerful late game abilities like level 4 Swordmaster being much more expensive. The series' early games also provide consumable healing items for purchase, but they're bought with the same currency. Why waste the money on a temporary fix when you're trying to save up to get a permanent upgrade? Worse yet, they keep ratcheting up in price the more you buy, which is double punishment for a new player who needs healing the most. Devil May Cry 4 tried to address this issue by dividing its items and upgrades, tying them to two separate currencies, Proud Souls for upgrades and Red Orbs for consumables. This kept the two items from competing directly with each other, though they do keep getting more expensive as you buy more of them, so you have to prioritize. There is an option to fully respec and reset the cost of upgrades at any time, so you couldn't paint yourself into a corner if you did something wrong. Eventually it was simplified in Devil May Cry 5. Consumables were de-emphasized in general, with basic healing items being removed completely. The Devil Breaker weapons are consumables, I guess, but they're so cheap that it barely matters. The series took a while to get there, but it has been a cautionary tale in how items competing for your purchase can clash, and to carefully consider whether the benefits of one type of item might come at the cost of something else. Now, it's good to make a shop convenient and easy to use, but there can be a charm to making the shop a little quirky. Lethal Company does it through the shop interface. Lethal Company is all about you and your friends collecting scrap on hostile moons and trying to not hilariously die to SCP-style monstrosities.
I need to see what I'm trying to kill!
Help!
Oh.
Get him! Get him! Oh! Edie's dead. You have to reach a profit quota before time runs out by selling that scrap to your cosmic horror corporate overlord. Maybe make a little extra on the side to upgrade your stuff and make your scavenging easier. The shopping in Lethal Company is obtuse on purpose. You'll be using your ship's ancient computer terminal to buy everything. Use the computer's old command line system to access the store, order equipment, and install upgrades. By typing it all out, manually. After ordering, a delivery pod will land somewhere nearby, and you can go pick up your stuff off the ground. Unless something happened to it. Or you. Who knows? Your funds are shared across the group, and anyone can use the terminal to order anything they can afford. Your group will have to figure out how to best use the system amongst yourselves. In the process, you will probably figure out how to worst use the system. Little Jiminy buys a TV instead of actual gear. Or something. Even if you don't make it back alive, at least your group will get a story out of it. No refunds. Let's get weirder with these basic shops. What if you made one really small? Roguelikes get a ton of mileage out of shops that only have like 3 things for sale and they're all randomized. Roguelikes are a type of game that tend to work better when you can't plan out your exact route. Improvisation is what brings a run to life. Stacking all the money in the world won't help you if you're only able to get a mediocre item. Or if you see something really good, maybe you sell off everything you got to stretch a little and grab it. You don't know what you're going to be able to get, which means you've got to be ready to swerve when an opportunity presents itself. The items need to be generally useful though for this to work. If you give players 2 different kinds of garbage, the shop might as well not be there. Randomized inventory shops are also perfect places to showcase new items. A weird sprite you haven't seen before showing up in a shop is a quick ticket to sparking the imagination of a player. Someone saying, "I don't know what that is a powerful incentive. Even if the item isn't strictly better, maybe the player wants to take it out for a test run, now that the opportunity has come knocking. Deck builders get a lot of mileage out of randomized stores too. My favorite newish one is Balatro, a deck builder where your starting deck is just a normal deck of cards. Play the best poker hands you can, and rig the deck in your favor to get higher and higher scores and multipliers. Between rounds, you can buy jokers, which can work together to create dramatic combos and boost up the points you get per hand. Your strategy in a run can be changed on a whim if you see an especially great joker become available. The types of hands you play and what order you choose to play them in can depend entirely on what jokers you've been able to acquire. Mix in the planet cards that boost the value of a specific hand, the tarot cards that can give any number of bonuses, and the spectral pack that can rewrite your deck on the fly, and you've got a lot to choose between in such a small shop. The products in the shop in Balatro define the type of run you'll have, but the game isn't just governed by random chance. Your success requires you to use the shop smartly, to recognize opportunities that come your way, and pounce on them before they disappear. Going up? So far, the shop has been the shop. You don't get much say as the player about what the shop looks like, but that can change too. Shops can evolve just like anything else, and if player actions make it happen, that's a recipe for a long-term player goal. One easy way to do it is change up what you can buy depending on the time. The Goldenrod Tunnel is a secret shopping district underneath Goldenrod City in Pokemon Gold and Silver. It's like a little mall, and different shops are available at different times of the real-life week, a feature made possible thanks to the clock that this generation added to the game. Buy your Pokemon's friendship with a sick haircut, but not on Mondays. Buy some herbs on the weekends, or stop by on Monday morning and get some bargains on a bunch of expensive stuff. Real shops have hours of operation, fake ones can too. You can change a shop by changing how prices are determined. Owaka the 23rd is a traveling merchant in Final Fantasy X. He's carrying a bunch of stuff and he'll follow you to the ends of the earth to sell you some. Owaka asks you for periodic donations, and if you oblige him, he'll reward you with better prices for everything he brings to you later in the game. Pretty steep discounts too. He'll even ask you midway if his stuff is too expensive, and he'll listen to you. He'll even listen if you tell him his stuff is too cheap, though I don't know why you'd do that. Players being able to affect game prices can make game shops feel a little more alive, a little more like a person is running the shop, and a little less like just a table of items and prices. Don't get too clever though. Playing games with the price of things rides a very fine line before it gets more annoying and cumbersome than fresh and fun. Star Fox Adventures makes you play a kinda dumb high-low game instead of just knowing what price something is. Guess the price.
Go on, guess!
No, that's too low.
You can save 3 scarabs per item by wasting your time, or make the shopkeeper mad enough to kick you out with nothing, and then you can just go right back in and do it again. Fun. You can even get some extra scarabs right around the corner from the shop, so what are you really saving? Ultimately, the haggling in Star Fox Adventures is just too rigid to be interesting. There isn't any real randomness or flexibility in bargaining here. It tries to make the world more immersive, but it really just makes buying stuff take longer. Star Fox isn't even close to the only game that has tried to get weird with basic shop mechanics. Is choosing things in a menu too practical? What if to buy something, you had to annoy everyone around you? Phantom Hourglass adheres to that classic Nintendo tactic of shoving in every new platform feature somewhere in a big new release, come hell or high water. The DS came with a microphone built in, so guess who's gonna have to look dumb on a bus? It's you! In between blowing out candles, dust, and windmills, you meet Edo, who will sell you a salvage arm so you can grab treasure from the bottom of the sea. You could pay anywhere from 200 to 1,000 rupees, depending on how loud you yell into the microphone when you buy it. Blow out your voice for a steep discount. Of course, you could game the system. People immediately figured out that you could just blow into the microphone slot to do the same thing, or tap on it with the stylus. That'll work too. The game's not too particular about it. Now you can play Phantom Hourglass on the bus. Shops can involve entire systems that take your patronage and turn them into much more complicated effects on other parts of the game. The World Ends With You is a very particular RPG that revolves around fashion and the intricate details of how your clothing brands interact with the world at large. The entire game takes place in Shibuya and the neighborhood's trendy shops. The game's mechanics are deeply tied to who you're wearing and what pins you have on, and the stat bonuses you get depend on how those brands are received in the areas you're fighting in. You'll want a wide variety of brands to switch between thanks to the game's trend chart system, where a brand's popularity waxes and wanes over time in an area. There's no best hat, there's only a best hat for today. Your gear might be buffed or even nerfed depending on the brand's standings. You have some influence over the chart if you complete fights while wearing a specific brand in an area, but you're still going to want a variety of styles to pick from to take advantage of the trends already present. The shops can help you dress for success, of course, but they're also home to a relationship system. The more you buy from a specific store, the friendlier that proprietor becomes, and the more expansive that shop's inventory becomes too, granting additional abilities on clothes you can buy. The more you shop, the more options you get. The result is a game that pushes players towards being flexible with their gear, and helps keep any one loadout from being the best option in all scenarios. Just like fashion, you have to keep tabs on trends to stay on the cutting edge. Maybe you're looking for something a little more dangerous than a normal shop might have. Secret shops can be just like normal shops, but with a little bit of window dressing, you have the material for a story moment, a cultural vignette, or a great place to find some fun new characters. Secret shops work best when they're a hard contrast with the normal shops in the game. Crazy Red in Animal Crossing New Horizons runs his own shop, filled with rarities and treasures beyond what those literal children over there can ever get you. He's got the Mona Lisa, dammit, somewhere out back. Come by his secret boat on your secret beach, or just head over to Harv's Island and he'll do some business with you. But Red is out to make a bell or two, and what better way to do it than to foist some bootleg artwork onto an unsuspecting rube such as yourself. If you're looking for the real stuff, there's a strategy to buying fake art to encourage that slot to be replaced with real art, but this whole deal is probably more for completionists. Buy some art if you want. Let's change what we expect to get out of a shop. Shops provide a place where you can stop in, not just for items with stats, but for tips, story leads, or just to chat a bit with whoever's behind the counter. Many of the most memorable shops owe their impact to the strong personalities of their shopkeepers. Deltarune has, as of now, 5 different major shopkeepers, each with their own distinct style, personality, and purpose. Sham is a wizened old mystic cat, running a shop with some normal goods and some mysterious story-relevant goods. Sham likes to put on a front, but they clearly know a lot more about what's going on behind the scenes in the story than they first appear to. Spamton is an obsessive, deals-crazed weirdo who you can barely communicate with, also deeply tied to what's going on behind the scenes, but in a different, colder way. Sweet Cap'n Cakes is a bunch of foes turned friends, here to exposition their way into your heart. Swatch is a shopkeep oozing maximum competence and maximum service. He's just doing his job, but he's doing it impeccably. And Rules Card is a complete joke. Now there's a guy. He's got the best shop music though. The stores and items themselves aren't anything special, maybe a secret item here and there, but the personality of each shopkeeper leaps out of the screen, and creates a strong impression that adds some dynamism to some of the otherwise slower parts of the game. Nier Automata has one hell of a special shop, and uses it to do one of the few overt callbacks to its prequel game. Emil was a major character in Nier, and it doesn't make a lot of sense as to why he'd show up here at first glance, thousands of years later, but that wouldn't be the weirdest part of this game. Newcomers might not have any clue what's rolling around here. After encountering him in the story, Emil will randomly appear in several of the overworld areas, blazing a trail in a scrappy little cart with his own personal shop theme on blast. He's got some higher quality goods, but you're gonna have to put in some work to get his attention, intercept him on his route, and shoot him to knock him over, then conduct your dark business. Emil's shop is a bit of fan service for series veterans, while still being a strong enough personality to make it one of the more memorable events in the game for everyone. Let's go up another level, and what the hell happened here? I think we're in a lawless area, or a PvP zone. What if you break the shop mechanics entirely? Stealing from shops is a popular one. Link's Awakening has a classic interaction. The shop mechanics make you haul items up to the register to purchase. Or, if you felt like it, you could run for the door instead. If he sees you try to sneak out the door, he'll just ask you to pay. He's not always looking though. Leave by juking around his line of sight, and bam, 5-finger discount. You did it. Hope you never need to get back into that shop again. You're a memorable face. The shopkeeper instantly spots you if you enter a second time, and the penalty for thievery is certain death. And your name is permanently changed to Thief, just so everyone knows what you did. The rest of the game plays the same, but it's a fun touch. Other games let you do more with thievery. Spelunky has a legendary shopkeeper. He's got his cozy little store here. You can trade in your gold for a handful of randomized items. Basic stuff. But the shop is so tiny. The exit is right there. I could just pick this up and run out the door, no? What's this guy gonna do? Well, this guy doesn't take too kindly to thieves. If you take anything, if you break anything, if you tear down the shop, or if you tried to take out the shopkeeper, he's gonna go berserk. And you're the only one down here, so he's gonna take it out on you. If we're being honest, you probably did it, even if you didn't. But maybe you make it out of the level without getting killed, with your fancy new weapon. You didn't just steal from a lone shopkeeper. He's part of a big ol' network of them, and they all talk, somehow. You are very banned from all shop franchises throughout the caves. Even if you manage to kill one of them, no shopkeeper will ever do business with you again. Trying to set foot in one of their stores after an incident will make them politely escort you from the property with a gun. Sometimes it's even one of the guns he has on sale. Spelunky 2 works much the same way, but with a forgiveness mechanic. If what you did isn't quite so bad, maybe just some light assault but not murder, you might get a second chance, but only if you stay out of their hair for a while. They'll let you know when you can come back. Getting rid of a shopkeeper isn't an impossible task by any means, but it's gonna take some clever thinking and thorough knowledge of the game's systems to pull it off. It better be worth it. Lots of other games will let you fight their shopkeeper, if it makes sense at all, usually as some secret boss level character. Starting the fight might be as straightforward as smashing into them, or it might take a little more finesse to figure out how to unlock it. Cobalt Core just shoves the option into a menu. It's a roguelike deck builder, drawing inspiration from both FTL and Into the Breach simultaneously. Use your cards wisely to beat up enemy spaceships and make it through. At each repair yard, you can get Cleo to help you out and fix your deck of cards. Or you can fight. You sure about this? You're immediately thrown into an intense fight. If somehow you make it out alive, your reward is this broken pair of glasses, and none of the repair bays are open for the rest of the run. What? What did you expect would happen if you beat the shopkeeper? You won. You had your fun. Alright, let's get out of here. Onwards and upwards one more time to the penthouse. You've made it. All your hard work in selling garbage to tourists has paid off. And now, you own the damn shop. Here's where all the games where you run the item transacting business live. Okay, so I've already gone over two of the big ones in this category in the item shop video from a few years ago. Shorthand, Recettear is cute, but rough to play, especially these days. Moonlighter is way more polished, but a little hollow once you get deeper into the game. So it's been 5 years. What new stuff do we have? Let's rapid fire over a few. There's actually still not a ton of these around. That's weird. There's a few solid ones though. There's Vinkeltja, if you're looking for a more sim-style item shop game. There's Potionomics, which has some cool bartering mechanics on top of a roguelike deck builder. Use your cards wisely to maximize your profits. Potioncraft has a cool visual style and a cool map for mixing ingredients, though I don't really like the amount of what I can only describe as waggle you need to do to mix things. Not enough time pressure either. No bustle. And Shoplike, which is a Shoplike. Check back in 5 more years and maybe we'll get the item shop game renaissance we all deserve. Well, there's no floor higher up from here, so I'm going to rely on you all to do a little more construction. I've left some famous shops out of this episode, so now's your chance to head to the comments and give a shout out to your favorites. If it's got a unique mechanic that we haven't talked about, all the better. The shop concept gives a ton of room to mix in extra mechanics and personality. Game shops can be anything you need them to be, from a simple exchange of stuff for other stuff, to a hangout for memorable characters, to a narrative linchpin, up to and including becoming the entire game itself. Invest in its purpose, and you can make your shop the most memorable part of a game.